All right, greetings. Welcome back to Blackburn News, where everything is connected. How y'all doing? Good to see you. I know I said I was going to do a book reading today, but there's just other things to cover. Maybe I'll do a book reading this weekend. I'm not sure. Maybe tomorrow or Sunday. I'll sneak in a book reading, possibly. Don't hold me to it. Anyways, I missed a day. We missed a day yesterday of Black Bear News, so I thought I'd just do a Black Bear News today. And welcome, everybody. Good to see you. I see you all coming in on YouTube and Rockfin and Rumble. We got somebody on Rumble. We're live on Rockfin, Rumble, and on YouTube. So you can watch on any of those channels already with the likes. Oops. Got a few people watching on Rumble. Got some likes on Rumble. Thanks for hanging out on Rumble. Rumble is an okay. It's okay. Alternative to YouTube. Slightly less censorious. Rockfin, much less censorious. Bella says YouTube sucks. Full stop. Well, yeah. We're streaming on 2 other platforms. So if you don't want to be on YouTube, just go on over to Rockfin or Rumble, and you can watch there. On Rumble, I can see your chats in the StreamYard. On Rockfin, I have to go to the Rockfin thing and look at your chats, but I do that regularly throughout the show, so that's not really a big deal. So if you're getting sick of YouTube, that's okay. You can go over to Rockfin or Rumble. But I see you all, Jazz, Osama, Gregory, Max, some other folks coming in. All good. All right. Well, let's get into it because, as usual, time is short today. And I apologize in advance for not having more time to hang out on this show. But my incredibly packed days seem to be getting more packed. But we'll start from the beginning. Let's see. This is from, I think Denver sent me this. In the last few weeks, for those keeping tabs, Japanese rice yields down 25% due to heat and drought. French wheat yields down 28% due to storms. Well, you would figure if, and I wonder what the numbers are from China. Do we not have those numbers from China? 250,000 livestock die in South Korea heat wave. 250,000 livestock. Do we not get numbers from China? I wonder. I mean, China has just been getting just absolutely hammered, slapped, silly. Slapped down, slapped around. So I'm pretty positive that China is experiencing some issues with their harvests as well. All right. Hopefully people aren't disappointed. Jazz Farm says, I don't know, I don't care, I don't give a fuck. Okay. All right. Just had to read that. It's good. Malcolm Young says YouTube is supreme for finding music without a subscription. And how to. I hope people are not disappointed I'm not doing a book reading today. Was everybody coming over here for a book reading? I apologize. Yeah, I guess YouTube is good for that. Sure. You can find music on YouTube. And it is good for, yes, how-to videos. Yes, it is good for that. It's good for some things. You're right. It just kind of sucks for talking about anything else. Current affairs and whatnot. You were hoping for Winnie the Pooh, Jazz Farm? Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, and Eeyore get flooded out by a once-in-a-thousand-year storm. How's that for a story? All right. It's true. No, I mean, yeah. If I want to fix something on my car or fix anything, or get gardening tips, yeah, YouTube is a good place for that, for sure. I mean, I would imagine though, if more people used, I think that more people use these other channels for talking about current events and political stuff because it has such a hard time on YouTube. But I imagine if other people just went to these other channels and used these channels like they do YouTube, you'd have, soon enough you'd have all those videos on Rumble or Rockfin or some other channel. But yeah. Let's look at this for a moment. This is from Bloomberg. They're not going to let me read this. I already know. France sees wheat crop plunging four-year low on heavy rains. The dip in Europe's biggest producer may restrain exports. The spring was fourth wettest season on record. France. Yeah. Damn it. What was the... Of course, I didn't find out. I didn't remember to look for that other trick that I had. Hold on. Let's see if we can find this somewhere else. As usual, it's really hot here today. It's just another 100-degree day here in the studio. Will they let me read this on Bloomberg, California? Oh, I guess they will. Well, all right. Excuse me. France sees wheat crop plunging to 4-year low on heavy rains. France's soft wheat harvest is seen slumping to levels near those last seen in 2020. And excessive rain in Europe's biggest agricultural producer hurt crop outlook. Wheat production is set to drop 15.4% this year to 29.7 million tons, according to data from the Agriculture Ministry. That remains 14.2% below the 5-year average. In 20 years, only 2 other harvests have not exceeded 30 million tons, according to the report. The estimate, likely to change as harvest progresses, places 2024 production near 29.2 million tons in 2020. Forecasts for the crop had already been slashed over the past months because of ceaseless rains and lack of sunshine. Well, that will definitely do it. Since planting season in the fall, along with mild temperatures favoring diseases, soft wheat planted areas dropped 10.8% to 4.2 million hectares compared to 2023. The dip in output could restrain exports from the country, which often hawks wheat across North Africa and Middle East, and it comes as bad weather has also battered crops in other major exporters like Russia, with the U.S. government forecasting global stockpiles to hit a 9-year low. Wheat futures in Paris jumped as much as 0.7% on Tuesday before pairing some gains. The spring was the 4th wettest on record in France, with rainfall up 45% more than the 10-year average. 45% more between the 10-year average between 1991 and 2020. It's like a 20-year average, right? According to Meteo France, this resulted in floods and landslides across the country, including in agricultural areas. June also saw rainfall up 20%. I guess that's it for that. Yeah, I don't imagine you get real numbers from China about what's going on with their crops. Oh no, power's been out since last night. Just got it back. Contemplate a pragmatist. Sorry to hear that. Sucks. Yeah, I may go back to the old style of starting on YouTube and switching over towards the end of the show. That wasn't bad. Yeah, well, yeah, Gregory, I think that'd be a safe guess, safe bet. Okay. This kind of post along the same lines from Sarah Connor. Who we guys? I'm tired. I spent like 12 plus hours helping a friend move yesterday. 12 hours. And a 4-hour round trip to the destination, including a 4-hour round trip to the destination. Yeah. Kind of whooped. From this is from North Korea or South Korea. Sorry, 19 dead, 2,000 ill, 420,000 livestock lost. Korea's brutal heat wave takes its toll. Where is the link? Where is the link? Oh, I really don't like when you do that, y'all. I thought the link was here. Let's see if we can find it. Here we go. Hopefully I'll be able to read it. Let's see. $19 dead, 2,000 ill, 420,000 livestock lost. Korea's brutal heat wave takes its toll. More than 2,000 people have suffered from heat-related illnesses. 420,000 livestock have perished under the blistering heat wave. So far this summer, with perceived temperatures remaining at 35 degrees Celsius, that's 95 degrees Fahrenheit. According to the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency under the Ministry of Interior and Safety, on Thursday, there were 2,004 cases of heat-related illnesses nationwide. And I think, I have something about Japan. A bunch of people dying in Japan from the heat. We'll look at that too. Scorching heat has also taken a heavy toll on livestock, with approximately 420,000 animals, including 31,000 pigs, 393,000 poultry, dying between June 11th and Wednesday. More than 430,000 fish species, including flatfish, have also died in aquaculture farms. No. The severe heat is expected to persist, with perceived temperatures remaining around 35 degrees Celsius and tropical nights anticipated. Yeah, that could be even more brutal. 95 degrees, even more brutal if it's really humid, right? And I believe it is. A heavy rain warning was issued for several districts in southern Seoul, including Gangnam and Sangpa, from 8:10 to 9:50 a.m. Heavy rain persisted from early morning until 9 a.m., with Gangnam receiving 80.5 millimeters and Sangpa experiencing 25 millimeters. Oh, where was it? Oh no. I've gotten lost. Hold on, I'll find it. It is warm in here, so things are kind of going kind of slow. I'll use this lull for a tea break. Oh, here we go. More on the extreme heat in the Far East. Let's get this. No, that's not it. God dang it. And oh my God. Oh my God. We'll get there eventually. Just hang tight, guys. Tor with the tip on Rockfin. Tor Werner, thank you. $10 on Rockfin. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. And hello to you. All right, we got some more people moving in on Rockfin. World on the brink of total war. Yeah, that is also something that might be happening. Maybe we'll look at this if we have time. I mean, definitely things are ramping up in the Middle East. For sure. I meant to cover this on Brain Fallout the other day, but I didn't. I didn't get there. But there is a fight for the oil fields in northern Syria. There are some tribes trying to regain the oil fields in northern Syria, and American forces are already involved in beating them back. So that's one thing that's happening. And then we also have the anticipatory strike from Iran on Israel, and then whatever happens after that, nobody knows. All right. Let's look at this real quick. 123 people died in Tokyo from heat stroke in July. Well, golly. More than 120 people died of heat stroke in the Tokyo metropolitan area in July, when the nation's average temperature hit record highs and heat warnings were in effect much of the month, Japanese authorities said Tuesday. According to the Tokyo Medical Examiner's Office, many of the 123 people who died were elderly. All but 2 were found dead indoors, and most were not using air conditioners despite having them installed. Japanese health authorities and weather forecasters repeatedly advised people to stay indoors, consume ample liquids to avoid dehydration, and use air conditioning. Because elderly people often think that air conditioning is not good for one's health, I wonder why they would think that, and tend to avoid using it. It was the largest number of heat stroke deaths in Tokyo's 23 metropolitan districts in July, since 127 deaths were recorded during a 2018 heat wave. Not too long ago, the medical examiner's office said more than 37,000 people were treated at hospitals for heat stroke. 37,000 people. 37,000 for heat stroke across Japan from July 1st to July 28th, according to the Fire and Disaster Management Agency. The average temperature in July was 2.16 degrees Celsius, higher than the average over the past 30 years, making it the hottest July since the Japan Meteorological Agency began keeping records in 1898. I'd say that's a pretty good bet that that was the hottest July they've experienced in a really long time, several generations. America just bombed for Israel? What? Bombed Iran? Bombed whom? On Tuesday, heat stroke warnings were in place in much of Tokyo and western Japan. The temperature rose to about 34 C in downtown Tokyo, where many people carried parasols or handheld fans. I feel every year the hot period is getting longer, said Hidehiro Takano from Kyoto. I have the aircon on all the time, including while I'm sleeping. I try not to go outside. You know, it does get warm in Japan, but it is also not, right. 95 every single day to them is a little different. 95 to Southern California every single day, while still hot, might fall into the range of what people experience during the summer. But if it doesn't get that hot, Let's see. Let's see if I can find something on this. Right. It's, kind of what happened in France and Europe like 20 years ago. There was a massive heat wave that killed thousands of people because nobody had air conditioning and nobody was used to it being that hot. "95 in Northern California, but cools down at night." That's good. Yeah, it's about the same here. It's like 90, 95 every day. In the hovering around the 90s. I don't know about cooling down too much at night. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. What is going on? Let's see. Does anybody have any link? Was there a bombing today by the U.S.? Does anybody have any link to that? Somebody, anybody. Oh, I got a $5 tip from Tor Werner on Rockfin. Thanks, Tor. Very much appreciated. I can't seem to find something right away about that. So is that just something that just happened? I don't know. I cannot see it. All right. Yeah, but just definitely lots of people nervous about that. We're still here. Yes, we are. Steve Austin says this was really underreported. The Sarasota airport on Sunday received 11 inches of rain, the wettest day recorded since 1911. Some rain gauges in the area reported up to 20 inches. Debbie really did some damage. I always find it so interesting that people's reaction to this kind of massive flooding is like laughing and smiling and giggling. It just boggles my mind. Every time there's a picture from like Korea or China somewhere and people are like in the middle of a massive flood, they're always like, ha ha ha. It's like, what? Is that just a cope? I don't know. Heavy floods caused by Tropical Cyclone Debbie in Annapolis, Maryland. Debbie's still doing big things in Annapolis, Maryland. Still going. Another slow moving system. Yeah, I'm going to catch up on my Patreons, guys, on the Patreon link posts. Sorry, I'm falling a little bit behind on that. But I'll get there. How crazy is this? It was hotter today above the Arctic Circle than it was across parts of Florida. 95 degrees in Fort McPherson, Canada. All right, here's the articles really want to get into, and obviously it's a race against time. See how much we can get into right now. Reposted from David Wallace Wells. This is a thread want to understand why weaning ourselves off fossil fuels like oil is such a tricky challenge. Best place to start is with this ubiquitous toy. This is a thread about what I call the Lego conundrum. It begins when you ponder what a Lego brick is actually made of. You don't want to know. Just just leave it. Standard Lego bricks are made of something called acrylonitrile butadiene styrene. ABS, we'll call it ABS, is a tough thermoplastic. You often find it in the handles of scissors or the frames of hard carry-on baggage cases, but Lego bricks are probably the most iconic application. It's worth saying, by the way, not all Lego pieces are made out of ABS. Base plates are molded from high-impact polystyrene. Gear wheels are polyamide. The small, flexible green pieces that look like plant stalks or flags are polyethylene, and so on and so on. But the vast majority of Lego, more than 80%, is those bricks you've doubtless played with and or found yourself cursing as you accidentally step on top of them. And these ones are all made from ABS. Why? It's incredibly durable. It can be molded incredibly precisely with no tolerances of within 4 microns, meaning one brick fits neatly into another and has unbeatable clutch power. The bricks stick together robustly but are also easy to pull apart. Its deployment in the 1960s was the culmination of decades of experimentation. Lego used to make its main bricks from something called cellulose acetate, but Ca bricks tended to warp and deform over time. The color faded. ABS was the zenith, the ultimate Lego material. The catch here is that ABS is made from crude oil. Well, strictly speaking, from both oil and gas. Every kilogram of Lego blocks in your cupboard or on the toy store shelves began its life as 2 kilograms of crude oil. Acrylonitrile is made from ethylene you find coming out of the crackers at oil refineries. Butadiene you get when you catalyze and dehydrogenate butane. Styrene comes from benzene. ABS is in some senses the quintessential petrochemical product, which is problematic if you have a commitment to the sustainability and elimination of carbon emissions, as Lego does. Their plan was to replace ABS with an oil-free alternative, and a couple of years ago, Lego announced it had a prototype replacement made from recycled plastic bottles. Okay. Problem was recycled polyethylene terephthalate simply wasn't quite as good as ABS. Virgin rPET was far too soft, so it needed additives and to be highly processed, probably with more oil. The upshot was its carbon footprint was actually higher than those old oil-based ABS bricks. In the early days, the belief was that it was easier to find this magic material, Chief Executive Niels Christensen told the FT. But we tested hundreds and hundreds of materials. It's just not possible to find a material like that. So they walked back their sustainability pledge. They're all walking back. My guess is the most sustainable is probably going back to the cellulose thing, right? Oh, but they won't last forever. They won't last for 3,000 years. Oh, darn. You know, kids get older. Toys get old. You throw them away anyways. What if you made Legos with something that, you know, recyclable? Something that breaks down. Like, hey, this has a shelf life or a play with life of, you know, a couple of years. That's all. That's about what you're going to get. Well, it's not just Legos, Shani. Not just Legos. I feel like Legos represent just all the stuff that we want to, that we feel like we absolutely have to have. I try to avoid buying all of this stuff. It's really hard. It's really hard. I don't know. Trying to decide whether me not wanting to buy all this stuff. So, I flip between emotions of feeling like cheap, lazy, no, I don't want this in my house, or I want as little of it as possible. Bah humbug, why are you such a Grinch? Yeah. 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 I don't know though. I do pretty good. I do without a lot of things that most people just absolutely can't live without. And I do a pretty good job of not taking in, a lot more of this stuff. I try to keep it at bay. Anyways. Part of the problem here, one that crops up again and again throughout material world, is that turns out a suite of materials we tend to use these days are simply very good at doing what they do. For instance, kerosene is really hard to beat as an aviation fuel. Yes, methane is a brilliant source of the hydrogen for making, among other things, fertilizers. Concrete might not only be the strong building material, but it's incredibly easy to lay and also phenomenally cheap. All these things create significant carbon emissions, but they are central to modern life. They are a large part of the explanation for how we've been able to urbanize and feed billions of people in recent decades. Finding low carbon replacements will be hard. In some cases, the replacements for fossil fuels are actually better than what they're replacing. 80% of the energy in petroleum is wasted when you drive your car, mostly as heat. But an electric car loses barely 20% of the energy along the way. I don't know. Can we have a fact check on that? I don't know about that, Ed Conway. It's not to say there aren't challenges with EVs. That 20% one, I right away that's ringing alarm bells to me. They're much more minerally intensive to build than petrol cars. Well, yeah. And they still use the plastic outer body, which is made of what? Not from lithium or or brilliant magical minerals. It's made from oil. And the tires are made from oil. You're not going to find a replacement for all the things that you need to actually build a car. The energy it runs on, you can try and finagle all you want about that. But building a car still takes a lot of oil, so call it a wash. Call it a wash. Here's the idea. No cars. Oh my God! What head explosion? Oh, what are you talking about? Oh God! Oh, how could I ever contemplate such a lifelong commitment to poverty and non-mobility? Yeah, no cars. No cars. That's the answer. Is no cars. Anyways. But it's just hard for people. What? 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 No cars? What do I do? I mean, it's damn hard to live without a car. I'm telling you. I didn't have a car for a long time this year, and I actually was starting to get real fine with it. I was actually, you know what? This could be okay. The problem is that it was annoying because I had to have a car to do certain things, and I was just a pest to my friends and people I knew, but trying to borrow cars so I could do a couple of things a week. I know there's Lyft and stuff. I know. And what you could do. Yeah, there's Lyft and Uber, sure. What you could do. Those are still cars. What about tractor trailers? Yeah, what about them? What about them? If you don't have any tractor trailers, everything collapses. Anyways, Let's go on about electric cars. Range and charging speed are still too low. They're not good enough to carry heavy loads, but in certain thermodynamic respects, they're better. But the lesson from Lego is that for much stuff, it's actually proving far more difficult to find deployable, zero or low carbon replacements. Well, whatever shall we do? Ed, do you ever suggest in here in this thread that we just not buy useless plastic piece of shit crap toys like this, that we just stop consuming? Do you ever suggest that? I wonder if we're going to get there. This gets to a critical issue. Let's see. Which still isn't widely appreciated enough. Replacing some coal-fired power stations with wind turbines is the easy bit. The next part will be far harder, including making grids work. Replacing cement manufacture or ammonia production will be far harder. Unless we can crack this stuff, we have no... That's the thing. He's just like, well, there's got to be an answer. There's got to be a solution for continuing to need all this stuff. You never get to the point where you're like, well, how about if we just do less stuff, or have less stuff, or build less stuff, or make less stuff, or eat less stuff, consume less stuff? How about that? No? Unless we can crack this stuff, we have no hope of meeting all those pledges our governments have signed up to. They will never do that. On the one hand, this is massively daunting. On the other hand, it makes for an extraordinary industrial challenge. Oh, no. No, he's definitely, there's got to be a techno fix to this, or else. It makes for an extraordinary industrial challenge to the likes of which we haven't had for centuries. We will crack the code. At some point, we must solve the Lego conundrum, or we might not. On the bright side, at least turning oil into plastic blocks isn't as pollutive as burning them. Oh, but it illustrates how much trickier and stickier these issues are than most people assume. Sure. Okay. Had to do it. I don't know what happened here, though. Ow. Help. Somehow I went full screen. Didn't mean to do it. All right. It also gets to another deeper point. For years, we were encouraged not to think too deeply about where stuff came from and the compromises along the way. Products were disposable and ephemeral. It's time we thought about more about what it takes to make stuff, and hence respected it more. Oh. Anyway, for more about the naughty, fascinating realities underlying the world, check out Material World, out now in paperback. It's actually about all sorts of other random stuff like sand and salt, but with I think, some important lessons for all of us. All right. Well. Shani says that's exactly what my mother's going through right now, kicking and screaming because society is designed around technology. Yeah. Yeah. Most sex toys will never degrade. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. We're almost there. No. Okay, guys, if you enjoy this show coming to you for free 99, like 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and you really like the content and you really like enjoy the conversation here and whatnot, and you really want to support the show, and you're wondering how to do it, there are links in the description box. Lots of the usuals: PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, Zelle, coffees, etc. Those are all beautiful ways to support the show. You could also Super Chat, Super Ray, Rumble Rant, etc., etc. Patreon is also available. Anyways, we're going to keep going. We've got a couple more minutes. It's not the end. But anyways, if you would like to support the show in a financial way, I would fully support that, and I would welcome that. And the people that support the show already, you know who you are. I appreciate you. Major energy companies conceal 47% of biodiversity damage, according to research. Yeah, of course they do. It's called externalization. And they don't want to tell you about that. This is from a couple of days ago. A study by the UPV EHU's research group on circular economy, business performance, and achievement of sustainable development goals reveals that energy companies conceal 47% of the damage wrought on biodiversity as a result of their activity. The study is published in the Journal of Behavioral and Experimental Finance. A total of 47 events relating to 30 major energy companies in the Euro area, cases of deforestation, electrocution of birds, habitat destruction, etc., were analyzed, and 22 of them did not even get a mention in their sustainability reports. European directives oblige large companies to publish documents relating to the environment and biodiversity, but the information that has to be included in them is not fully specified. Each company decides which aspect to cover, so they act freely and soften their image. Said the author of the study, indeed, energy companies were found to disclose with clarity only 23% of the events that threaten biodiversity. So it's actually more like 75%. However, some events were also communicated in a vague way. And 30% of the adverse impacts analyzed across 14 cases, the companies were found to have resorted to strategies to neutralize their responsibility. Yeah. According to Blanco, the most commonly used technique is to emphasize good aspects and positive actions. For example, palm oil trees are planted by some companies in tropical areas to produce biofuels, and this destroys the local ecosystems. However, in their sustainability reports, they divert attention towards softening the issue. They emphasize that they have planted numerous trees in other areas, and that does not make up for the deforestation caused by the company as a result of palm oil trees, among other things, because the plantations are located far from the damaged sites. On other occasions, energy companies argue that it is unclear who is responsible for the destruction, or else they blame other actors directly, the suppliers, for example. Oh, God. All right. You know, this is the reason why, why we can't let, like, the UN and these, corporations and Bill Gates and the World Economic. That's why we can't let these people control the conversation around climate change, right? Because these are the very people that are destroying the planet, right? They're destroying the planet. They obfuscate what is going on. They hide what they're doing. But they're going to tell you that you can't, their misinformation and disinformation online is the biggest threat to, public health and climate change and all that kind of stuff. It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. They are the liars, right? They are the cheaters, the liars, and the destroyers, right? And I'm seeing this kind of around one of these articles. I think it was from something else. Something I saw floating around today was about how fossil fuel companies are pushing out disinformation, and it's a big reason why we can't get action on climate change, which is true. My concern around this subject is that it's not going to be about, focusing on the fossil fuel companies pushing out disinformation, right? And slathering the planet with money and the media market with money in order to, keep people from really knowing what's going on or really being able to decide, what they want to do with the planet. That's not going to be the focus, right? The focus is going to be about the disinformation. It's going to be about the end user or the, people who are putting out disinformation online, right? We're going to have to counter that disinformation on social media, right? It's going to up the censorship game. That's how they're going to. That's what that media push is about, right? Ultimately. So I'm just trying to let you guys know, yes, disinformation is a problem. What do you counter disinformation? With information, right? You call it out for what it is. You want to be able to have your free speech so you can say, see that? That's bullshit. See that? You're repeating something that's not right. That's not true. These people are pushing something that isn't true, like, electric cars are going to save the planet, right? You want to be able to call that out and be free to call that out. So be very careful about who I know that a lot of like climate change communicators get angry about all the bots and the people going, nah, climate change is a hoax and it's a bunch of hooey. I know you get angry about that. And I know that that's, can be difficult to take. You counter that with real information. You just keep countering it with real information. You don't go, I wish these people would be silenced, because guess what? The next person that gets silenced is you. You putting out real information about climate change. You will be the next person silenced. I'm just warning you. So just be careful of the 3-card Monty that they're trying to do with this, because I saw that Guardian article and I immediately was like, I see where they're going with this. I see exactly where they're going with this. It's not about the fossil fuel companies pumping billions of dollars to misinform people. That's the problem. That is the problem. No, the ultimate end goal is to set up things, put things in place so that ultimately you will not be able to call out the fossil fuel companies. You will not be able to call out the myth of a techno utopia saving us from climate change. Right? Anyways. Well, that's about all I got time for. Thanks, guys. Thank you for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. Yeah, exactly. Derek Jensen. Yeah, Bright Green Lies. That's right. That's right. I have got to end it here. I'm going to make sure I got have people to thank. Don't know that I do. All right, guys. I will see you on Monday. I may pop in. Tomorrow or Sunday for a book reading, but I'm not sure. Can't promise anything. If I don't see you this weekend, I'll see you on Monday at 4 p.m. on Black Bear News, all the channels, on all the platforms. And thank you all for the conversation. Until next time. Peace.